call this meeting to order at 6:08 p.m. There we go. We're good. There he is.
My house held me hostage.
You were only, for clarity, only 2 minutes. Can we do roll call, please?
Director Burnworth?
Here.
Director Goodstuff?
Here.
Director Menard? Director Proctor?
Here.
Director Berker?
Here.
Director Valdez?
Here.
Director Garcia?
Here.
Thank you. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we'll move on to public comments. At this time, the board will hear comments on any agenda item. If any person wishes to be heard, they shall stand, address the president, identify themselves, and state the subject for comment. Time limit for each speaker is 3 minutes. A total of 15 minutes shall be allocated for each time for all members of the public. The board may find it necessary to limit the total amount allowable for all public comments on items not appearing on the agenda to 1 hour. Do we have any public comments? Mike, I thought you were going to say something. Just kidding.
Head before the door, you're going to close session.
And with that, we'll break into closed session at 6:10 p.m.
Those folks on Zoom are going to put you in a waiting room and we will bring you back out when closed session has concluded.
With that, we'll open up open session again at 7:25. So, do we have any reports out of closed session?
There is no reportable action taken during closed session.
So then we'll go to item 6, update discussion and possible actions regarding status of dissolution of Pioneers Memorial Healthcare or Memorial Hospital District and PMH and IVHD integration. So as I think everybody knows, the appeal was denied, making it where IVHD will then become the successor agency effective next Tuesday, January 21st. With that, we've already given our interim CEO will now be the CEO of Pioneers. His contract with IVHD comes into fruition. We also need to talk about when we want to have our next board meeting. I know at our last board meeting we had discussed having one on the 23rd, but I just wanted to throw it out to the board to see if that's still kind of what we want to do. If we want to do it, I think personally, if we do it right on the 21st, Chris shows up that day, I think it's going to be like, I think it's going to be too much for the employees. Personally, I think we stick with the 23rd at 6 and kind of stay with that Thursday.
Okay.
But I just want to see if anybody else has any thoughts.
I'm good with it. I'm good with it.
Yeah, me too.
What time?
6?
6 p.m. And that'll be at El Central or here?
No, I think we'll have that one at PMH. Make an opportunity for, really I think we can kind of have, I don't even know if we want to do like a presentation, a Q&A session, go over our FAQ. I think we kind of go over the FAQs that we've already kind of put together with the employees just to reiterate, kind of what's happening. I definitely know if I was in their shoes, I would have questions that I would want answers because with everything being so pending, it's been a big question mark, and I just want to assure them that, their seniority is going to stay in place, their pay is going to stay the same, they're still going to have a job, all those things that have probably been racing through their minds, and kind of ease that as we go through. So I don't know how we agendize that for kind of like a, we could do it a presentation and then public comments so they can ask questions, like a Q&A. I don't know if that would be, we can do that at a board meeting because usually you can't.
Yeah, usually you wouldn't. Certainly we can have an agenda item for FAQs where we can present some of the stuff that Chris and I have prepared with respect to employee questions that we anticipate. There will be an opportunity for public comment on any agenda items, as there always are. If there is gonna be a Q&A session, we could figure out how to agendize that and put some parameters on the lengths of time that are consistent with our public comment policy, so that we're not engaging in, many hours worth of discussions if many employees have lots of questions. Because of course, the reminder will be that they can direct a lot of their questions to their CEO. If we want to talk through some other potential agenda items, I know our board chair and CEO met with folks from Pioneers yesterday. I don't know, Chris, if you want to give a recap of that and talk about some of the potential items that could be on the agenda either next week or the following week if the board wants to have another special board meeting before the end of the month.
Yeah, so we met with Katie and Linda and Carly yesterday. That was James, Katie, and Laura and myself. And it was a good meeting. We talked about some of the things that we could do to make the transition smoother and easier. And we talked about putting together a joint unified message going out about the transition. We're hoping to get that over to them tomorrow to approve. Initially, we were going to put it out on Tuesday, but given the fact that we now have an answer, we're going to try and push that out tomorrow and try to get it out sooner so that everybody can see that. So Frank's working on that now. They did have quite a few questions for us. Some of them we had heard before many times, and some of them were a little bit newer. And so I think we did a pretty good job of going through those questions and our questions as well that we had. There's the team over there is a good team. I've already had some good conversations with Carly, even today. And we're starting to gather all the paperwork, which it's extensive, for our chow. So I gave that list to them already, and they're already working on that, so we can get that piece. And chow is the change of ownership paperwork, just so that you guys are aware of that. So that's some of the things that we're working on right now as well. Outside of that, if the board has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
You may want to discuss the contracts that the board may want to see on the agenda next
Oh,
meeting.
yes. So I apologize, thank you. Pioneers was going to have a board meeting tomorrow. There are some contracts on that need to be approved before the end of the month. So it would behoove us to add those to our agenda items for next session so that we can get those approved and taken care of. Some of them are things like the medical executive committee has their chair and some medical directorships and things like that. And there's a couple of service contracts in there as well. And I believe there was one capital item that needs to be approved. So those would be things that would be important for us that I would recommend that we would add those to our agenda on that day as well, to go ahead and get them approved and give you guys an opportunity to hopefully see those ahead of time and be able to become familiar with it.
Yeah, that's my only kind of cautionary thing about stuff like hitting this board with a number of contracts right off the bat with little opportunity to review any materials beforehand. I don't know when we'll get the materials. Typically, I would want the contracts to be included within an agenda packet that would be circulated, a week before or at least 72 hours before a meeting. I guess the question for this board is, if we're going to meet on Thursday, it's a special board meeting, so the agenda requires 24 hours, of time, of posting requirement, but we'll obviously try to get that out this weekend, because we know it's going to be few agenda items and they're all going to be related to the Pioneers transition. If we can't get those contracts or documentation, I don't know how, Pioneers does it, but typically we would have like a staff report or something, like a short staff report that's like a cover page for whatever we're asking you to approve, that summarizes what we're asking you to approve and why, and fiscal impacts or whatever. So that you could read it and then be prepared for the board meeting.
And if it's budgeted or not.
Yeah, right.
Those types of things. And
So is that too much for a week from today? Or do you want to have another special board meeting the following week and then have all those materials a week in advance?
Yeah.
Or are you okay with having them by Tuesday for the
I would-
Thursday board meeting?
I would like to really kind of focus on like the employees and the transition on the 23rd, and then maybe have another special board meeting on the 30th if they have to be approved before. That way, our legal can review them, Chris can get up to speed with them, and our board can review them as well. That way we're not really going into it blind. That would be, nobody, I agree with that.
And I can make sure, just like, I'll double check, because I do know that Carly had mentioned that there is a potential situation where one of them, like, they're waiting so they can do some of the work. So if there is a case like that, I can find out what that might be, and we can kind of see from there. So otherwise, most of the other ones would be fine for us to move out with. But I can double check on, but I think there could be potentially an issue on one. But I'll find out from Carly and let you guys know.
Okay, you can work with staff and then figure out what needs to be done, that have to have on the 23rd, if everything can then be wait until the 30th, and then,
Yeah, because if the board can, get a quorum together for the 30th, then that can be the first real business meeting where you're getting the contracts in advance. Chris has an opportunity to catch up on what they all are. I have an opportunity to catch up on what they are. The board has more than just 2 days to review the packet. So I think that's a good idea if the board's available and doesn't mind having another special board meeting.
I'm available.
Okay.
Oh, and I will tell you too, that I did go and do most of my paperwork today, too, so that we're good to go from a compliance perspective, so.
I'm with Katie that this next meeting should be like their meeting. That way we can give them the feedback on all that Q&A stuff, so they start fresh with them.
I expect that you'll have your own kind of hands-on meetings with the
Yeah.
employees
Yep.
already, but if they, for some reason, want to hear it from the board or get assurance from the board that that's actually what, is gonna happen, maybe they have more questions, etc.
And they can have their 3 minutes to voice whatever they want to voice.
Yeah, absolutely,
We want them to speak up.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah, whether it be good, bad,
Right.
anything in between, I really want to hear their feedback. They are the backbone of this organization. Realistically, we are the new people, and so I just want to make it, I would like to see the transition as smooth as possible, whether it's, feedback that's good or bad, so.
And that way too, it's 2 days after the transition, so Chris can give you his CEO's update on how it's gone over the past 2 days. And then you can just be informed on how it's going, any outstanding items, hopefully everything's business as usual. And then again, we can prepare a more robust agenda packet with action items for the following Thursday.
I do have a question though. We do not do Zoom meetings. We don't have any setup whatsoever, or streaming or anything like that.
We can make sure that.
Tony can.
Tony got it.
Tony, you got it?
Yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, because that's something I really want to keep going, is
Definitely.
make sure there's live streams.
You just never did it.
Yeah, so I think that's something that we're going to implement. That'll be a nice change to, even if employees can't come, then they can watch it. Members of the public can't come, they can watch it. So I think that's part of the whole being transparent process that I think our whole board is committed to. So
Great, thank you for
Thank you.
bringing that up.
perfect.
And he's got it, so we're good.
Do we have any other items that we want to discuss? Any thoughts on the transition? Any questions for Chris? You're going to have a busy.
You ready? It's
Yeah.
gonna be-
It's gonna be like
Yeah.
in the back. Back on.
I will throw something in there just real quick, just for the board's information. They do have a business license now for the urgent care. And so there's gonna be a soft opening on the 27th with a potential grand opening sometime in February. But we do have that now, so just so you guys have all that information, I'll make sure you do that.
Yes. very excited about that.
Yeah, me too.
It's like all coming together.
Coming together, yeah.
Together at
It's getting
once.
exciting.
Yeah, I mean, commend my board. This has been a rough year. I mean, I am like, yeah, I'm like, finally like, we did it, you know? And yeah, it hasn't been an easy ride, but I think it's brought everybody on our board a lot closer. You have, you know, essentially 7 strangers who you threw together and was like,
Yeah, I think we're pretty forged now.
yeah, you know, here's a bill, you know, here's a law, that's your roadmap. Okay, what does this mean, right? And then everybody's complaining the government's making you go too fast, which is an oxymoron in my opinion. You know, so, you know, I just really want to commend and thank my board and our board and congratulate you for the job well done. I really look forward to see now that this, you know, even though this last year was hard, I think this is really the hard work that comes. You know, we're still working on the negotiations with the city of El Centro. Hopefully we can get those done sooner rather than later, and then really make this whole AB 918 and Imperial Valley Healthcare be what it's intended it to be and really accomplish those goals, because I think our residents deserve that, so.
And we can get on with the task at hand.
Yep.
So we also should say thank you to our
Adriana.
Adriana and her team, because they have worked very hard and tirelessly as well, and even offered services pro bono along the way to try and help us get through the muck and the mire. So that is greatly appreciated, so thank you.
It's my pleasure. It's been my pleasure to serve this board.
I'm gonna give you a standing ovation, your crowd.
Yes.
You wanna put that in your notes, it was a standing ovation.
But also, I mean, also the Heffernan staff that we inherited and brought over to IVHD, you guys have done an amazing job as well. Your work doesn't go unappreciated or unnoticed, so thank you.
Thank you.
We look forward to integrating you into this as well, and so, yeah, it's gonna be good, guys. So, with that, if we don't have anything else,
No, we'll just plan on circulating a special board meeting agenda over the weekend for the next board meeting, which we will have on Thursday at 6 p.m. at Pioneers.
I have one last thing. As you all know, the fires that are going on in LA, we sent a task force from Imperial County out there, headed by, I believe, Hopeville Chief Calexico. I've been in contact with him, just checking to see how they're doing, and they're doing well. Told them to be careful, essentially, don't take unnecessary risks, keep the odds in their favor, but I hope to see them back, and I think that when they do get back, I mean, they're all from the valley. There's a couple of firefighters from one of the casinos that are out there as well, and I would like to at some point give them some recognition when they get back safely, because they do belong to us, and I mean, they're doing a lot of work. It's challenging, especially the first 2 days with no water, and so yeah, I just want to make sure that we recognize them when they get back.
That's a great idea.
I think that is an
Yes,
excellent.
definitely.
That is all.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question? A few questions?
we'll
Anna?
close the agenda meeting, or,
Public comment portion is
Already
over, but we
over.
could give them an opportunity to say,
It's
Yeah.
just a few, like, just clarify, Chris is the new CEO of Pioneers, right?
so
Correct.
Chris
On the
is
21st.
On the
So-
21st.
effective on January 21st.
So Chris will be the CEO for Imperial Valley Healthcare District.
Right,
Oh,
for Imperial, there will be no
okay,
more
right,
Pioneers
that's-
Memorial
that's
Healthcare
true.
District.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, when is going, so the merger, is official on the 21st, correct? Or when is
No,
it?
there is no merger. The
Okay.
dissolution of
Okay.
Pioneers is effective on January 21st
Okay.
pursuant to LAFCO's resolution
Mhm.
and the order of the court, which terminated the stay of LAFCO's dissolution until January 21st. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a dissolution, and then IVHD is the successor agency by operation of law.
Okay. And as far as, like, what could people expect, at Pioneers moving forward, like workers or people that visit the hospital?
I think we're hopeful that for the employees and the public that are getting services from there, it's a very seamless transition. I mean, right now, the only thing that's coming over is just a new board, and so we're hopeful that they don't even notice. So,
Business as usual.
business as usual, yes.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any more questions?
No, it's not right now.
Okay. And with that, I'll adjourn this meeting at 7:44 p.m.